Here's 5 tips to help you save money when setting up a property. Number 1, definitely order your furniture ahead of time if you're doing rental arbitrage so that you have it all ready to go. If you know for sure you're gonna get the property and you know that your purchase or your rent is 100% going to go through, buy all the furniture ahead of time before you take possession of the property. That way you can have it ready to go.
The key here is to take action the moment you obtain your property, because every second it is sitting empty, you're losing money. That's why it's important to have proper instructions and training to know exactly what to do when it's time to act. You make no mistakes and you're wasting no time at all.
And that leads us to number 2, you can hire people to instantly bring everything to the property so you're not sitting on the property, burning each and every day, paying rent or mortgage, with the property being empty and unstaged. Number 3, right when you get possession of the property, instantly get utilities changed into your name. The number 1 mistake that beginners make is that they always lag on utilities or the internet. Sometimes it takes several days, up to a week, sometimes even 2 weeks to get your internet set up. I'll give you an example. I had some properties in Idaho. It was a brand new construction and the internet was not ready. So they had to send a crew out and it took 3 days before they could send somebody out. And then when they arrived, the guy that they sent out was not prepared to set up my internet. He said that they needed to send another team to do it. That entire process from beginning to the end probably took about 10 days just to get internet going. Then I can install my smart lock, etc. So learn to set your internet ASAP. Which leads us back to number 1. Everything requires you to be quick and have fast action. There's 4 people here assembling almost all the time. And 2 of us have done Airbnbs before. We're just here, focused, and doing it, and still, it is not done. This is why it is so important to get a moving team, professionals who do this every single day, to do this stuff for you so you can focus on the other minor details that the property needs, like setting up the Wi-Fi, setting up your lock, setting up the cameras, storage closet, the final touches, organizing, keeping the place clean as you build. This is what's possible when you have professionals assembling and doing the time-consuming work for you. When I first started this, I made all of these mistakes. My very first Airbnb, I was just sitting there by myself, completely demoralized, setting up furniture. And not only that, I did not have power tools, which leads us to number 4, buy power tools. Because I didn't know if it was going to be my full-time gig. So I had the old school screwdrivers, I had your old school Allen wrench. It was a pain. By the time I was done setting up all the furniture, I had blisters on my hand.
Invest in power tools. Invest in anything that will help you expedite your process.
So when I talked to George, and he's done a lot, hundreds of them, and when I told him that I knew you, he's like, oh, I know him. Yeah. He's what we call the Airbnb god. Ta is the Airbnb god.
Number 5, it's good to network with people who have done this before and done it a million times and again, because that way you can learn from their mistake. If your goal and your intention is to scale a very large business, make sure you go to somebody who already has that large business, because somebody who runs 1 Airbnb really does things very differently from somebody who runs 100 Airbnbs or 1,000 Airbnbs. So if you are interested within my course, I will teach you how to run a system where you can run unlimited Airbnb, hundreds, thousands of Airbnb, and to do it very efficiently and quickly.
What's also very helpful in the Airbnb journey is doing it with other students. When you become one of my students, you will get added to my Facebook group, which many other students are going to go through the same journey with you. This makes your journey a lot more fun and motivating. You get to see how others progress, and you can see whether or not you're progressing with them or you're behind. It's the motivation that some of us needs.
There are just so many tips that I can't really include it in 5, but here's some bonus ones, okay? If you're really strapped for cash, this is your first Airbnb, you can always charm and pay family to do it. When I say pay family, I really mean don't pay them. Just invite them over and have them help you. You can pay them back in food, cook them a nice meal, take them out. Really, when you set up your properties with your family, it's a great way to connect and bond and just to have fun.
Cheers. Cheers.
Bonus tip, when you order furniture, make sure that you buy them from a source that allows you to easily return this furniture, such as Amazon or Wayfair. Collateral damage, This box wanted to take a shower a little bit too early. I'm gonna take a picture of this and send it to Amazon so I can get a refund for this. This was damage in delivery. For this particular property, I did as much as I can to save. So I bought all the furniture ahead of time. I hired movers, and unfortunately the movers that I hired, they couldn't keep up their end of the bargain because this is an out-of-state job. I don't have my regular movers who would have done amazing. But because it's an out-of-state job, I had to test a new crew, and they weren't able to deliver. So you just have to pivot from that. If they can't deliver, then you have to do it, right?
Yeah, that's frustrating, huh?
It is a little bit frustrating, but I try not to let this stuff get to me, because with the one thing I learned with business is that a lot of times when you plan, it doesn't go your way. And if you let it get to you, then you're gonna quit pretty quickly. I've noticed after teaching a lot of people, one of the biggest issue that beginners have is that when they faced even a very small problem, instead of adapting and just figuring out the solution to that problem, they amplify it and talk about how big the problem is. And instead of focusing their energy in solving that problem, you're giving that problem more credence to be real. You're letting that problem become a real problem, right? So instead of figuring out the solution. So my biggest advice is, if you face something like that, the cleaners or the movers, they decide not to do their work, okay, what's the next thing to do to help them complete their task? Do it yourself or find someone else to do it. People, when they cook, right, they learn from a recipe, and they follow that exact recipe to the T, and they don't adjust the recipe to fit their own palate. When you're cooking something, the chef's palate is probably a little bit different from yours. Your palate probably needs a little bit more seasoning. It's all situational. So when you take my course or anyone else's course, understand that what I'm giving you is an overall blueprint. There's going to be things that are situational, that is specific to you and only you. And at that point, you need to be able to recognize that and adapt.
If you're feeling intimidated by all there is with Airbnb, let me tell you, don't be. Airbnb is a ton of fun, and you should see it that way. Even after all the properties that I've started and all my successes and all the students that I've taught, I still choose to do this because it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of creativity that can go into this. I love Airbnb and teaching other people because the fact that I get to connect with people from all walks of life, and we skill share. I've met a coder the other day, and I've decided to build an app, and he can assist me in that, and I can help him build his Airbnb portfolio. It is always a win-win. If you guys love this stuff, make sure you follow the B&B University. I'm going to come out with a lot more videos every single week to make sure that you become successful in Airbnb. With that said, see you on the other side. Cheers to success and nothing less.